The fragile balance of Eastern Europe shattered before dawn on a bitter November morning. Months of attrition, endless skirmishes, incremental gains. It all culminated in a crescendo of fire and steel. Russia demonstrated, once again, that it can strike deep, strike hard, and strike at will. This was no accidental clash. No border harassment. This was a calculated, coordinated, overwhelming assault. Hundreds of drones, dozens of missiles from ships, submarines, and strategic bombers, all moving in deadly synchrony. Ukraine's skies, usually patrolled and wary, suddenly filled with shadows of destruction. Energy facilities, the lifeblood of Kyiv, the pulse of its cities, and the backbone of military operations, were targeted with surgical precision. President Zelensky appeared on screens, his voice urgent, resolute, but edged with visible strain. Europe was called to act. Freeze Russian assets. Impose sanctions. Send weapons. Now. But Europe hesitated. Questions lingered. Is this strategy working? How long can Ukraine endure? What is the end game? Russia, meanwhile, set the tempo, dictated the intensity, and controlled the battlefield. The night of November 8th was long, dark, and deadly. Over 450 drones, 45 missiles, launched in a single coordinated night. This was more than numbers. It was pressure applied to test Ukraine's resilience, its air defenses, its very will to survive. Poltava plunged into darkness. Families huddled in freezing apartments, praying as temperatures dropped below zero. In Kharkiv, subway systems halted, commuters stranded mid-journey. The city frozen in fear. Dnipro's skyline crumbled. Residential towers shattered, concrete twisted, steel bent. Emergency crews raced against time to rescue survivors. Hospitals operated on emergency power. Children shivered. The elderly waited for heat that never came. Energy infrastructure, Kyiv, Poltava, Kharkiv, was crippled. Civilization was paused, if only for a moment. Russia's strategy was relentless. Saturation strikes. Infrastructure warfare. Winter looming like an enemy soldier in every street. Without power, military communications falter. Transport grinds to a halt. Logistics stall. Morale cracks. Shahed drones, hundreds of low-cost, relentless machines, pounded air defenses. They acted as weapons and decoys, forcing Ukraine to expend interceptors on relatively cheap targets. Kalibr missiles, Kh-101 missiles, precision strikes designed to annihilate high-value infrastructure. Every move calculated, every strike intentional. Every city left questioning its survival. Kyiv pressed the United States for Tomahawk missiles, long-range precision, capable of reaching deep into Russian territory. The Tomahawk could shift the balance, opening the possibility of striking command centers, logistics hubs, and missile production facilities. But the decision was fraught. Political risks, escalation fears, NATO involvement, a nuclear-armed Russia. Technical limitations complicated matters further. Yelabuga and Vakinsk, drone and missile production hubs, were at the edge of Tomahawk range. Advanced S-400 and S-500 air defense systems loomed as ever-present threats. Even with perfect strikes, it could take 150 Tomahawks to disable 50% of production. Unrealistic, costly, risky. Moscow warned, send them and the conflict escalates. Russia's arsenal was formidable. Kalibr, Kh-101, low-cost drones. A lethal combination of strategy and precision. One misstep could trigger a surge in intensity, scope, and destruction. This is war as chess. Each move carefully weighed. Each strike a calculated gamble. Yet amid the destruction, Ukraine endured. Civilians huddled in basements, whispered prayers of the cold night. Emergency crews, volunteers, and local heroes risked everything to pull survivors from rubble, their courage defying despair. In Kharkiv, a young mother wrapped her children in blankets, telling them stories of resilience to mask her fear. In Dnipro, rescue teams worked tirelessly through debris and darkness, every second counting, every heartbeat precious. Across the country, communities adapted. Improvised power stations, neighborhood heating hubs, volunteer networks sprang into life. The human spirit refused to be extinguished, even as drones and missiles tore through infrastructure. Meanwhile, Political drama unfolded in Western capitals. Debates raged over military aid, frozen assets, and sanctions. Some questioned the effectiveness of endless support. Some whisper about negotiation, diplomacy, and off-ramps. Others argue for stronger action, a harder stance, a strategy that matched the intensity of Russia's offensive. The contrast was stark. Ukraine fighting for survival on the ground, while political leaders debated strategy in distant chambers. But the battlefield was unforgiving. Russia's industrial capacity, combined with strategic intent, demonstrated a new model of modern warfare. Instead of costly ground assaults, Moscow used infrastructure as a weapon, achieving strategic paralysis without risking soldiers. Energy attacks were a lesson in 21st century war. Cut the lifeline and the nation falters. Without electricity, hospitals risk failure, water ceases to flow, communication collapses, transport stops. Industry supporting the war effort grinds to a halt, from weapons repair to ammunition production. Morale, fragile as winter ice, cracks under relentless pressure. Shahed drones strike first. Interceptors fired, positions revealed. Precision missiles follow. Devastation exacted. The sequence is deliberate, layered, ruthless. The question of escalation remains. How far will Ukraine go? How far will Russia push? The Tomahawk debate encapsulates this dilemma. Strike deep, risk escalation, or hold back, risk continued suffering. Winter approaches. Temperatures fall. Energy grids falter. Civilians adapt. Soldiers endure. The human cost mounts silently. Children freeze in apartments. Elders wait for heat that never comes. Families huddle in darkness. Yet Ukraine persists. Rescue crews, volunteers, and ordinary citizens display courage beyond measure. Europe watches, debates, hesitates. Moscow dictates the tempo. Russia shapes the battlefield and the conflict's intensity. The skies over Ukraine remain a canvas of destruction and hope. Drones streak across the night. Missiles carve paths of ruin. Yet the human spirit endures. Questions linger. How long can infrastructure hold? How long before resolve falters? How long before the cost overwhelms the willing? The night is long. The drones keep coming. The missiles keep falling. And humanity watches, waiting, praying, hoping. The skies will decide. Every city, every home, every heartbeat is now part of a war dictated by technology, strategy, and human resilience. Winter tightens its grip. Ukraine braces. Europe contemplates. Russia advances. This is more than a battlefield. It is a test of endurance, ingenuity, and will. History is being written in concrete, steel, and fire. The conflict is not measured in days or weeks. It is measured in human suffering, resilience, and strategic calculation. Every drone, every missile, every decision echoes far beyond borders, shaping the fate of Europe and the world. The world watches as modern warfare unfolds, technology and human spirit locked in a deadly dance. And in the silence between attacks, the question remains, who will falter first, Ukraine, Russia, or the world itself? The answer lies in the skies. The night is long. The winter is harsh. But the fight continues. And in the hard destruction, the human spirit refuses to bow.